Welcome to my backyard garden tour for the month of May. I have lots of goodies to show you, so I am looking forward to it all over the place. New blooms, some things are going wild with how big they are already, and we're like barely into the growing season, I feel like. Hi you guys, this is Nicole from My Carolina Garden. My garden is located in growing zone 8B, and we are in southeastern North Carolina. We are starting in the garden that doesn't yet have a name. I want to show you what's happening here before we jump into like the real goodies of like the rock garden and stuff like that. So let's go take a look. So as we start at the end of the flower bed, something to point out is this gorgeous dahlia. So dahlias are on the line perennial for me here in zone 8, but this one does come back each year and I have gorgeous pink blooms on it, which is awesome. I wanted to show you two. This is the azalea, which has already bloomed back in earlier April. So it is now safe to cut back the azalea, which I want to do to give my dahlia more room. I just wanted to say that because you don't want to cut the azalea at the wrong time and risk losing blooms for that year. But since the bloom time is over, we are safe to rock and roll on that baby. Some things are completely spent in here already. I had the grape hyacinth muscari in here, which obviously looks very ratty right now. Whatever. Here though, do you see my gorgeous lily that is opening up? I wonder if I kept her label here. This is Tiny Nugget Asiatic Lily. So the reason why it's gorgeous is the speckled color on all those petals. Lots and lots of blooms, so this is gonna have beautiful color. And then this one here though is going to be a red blooming daylily, but I think it's gonna come a little bit later in the year, so they won't be both in bloom at the same time. These are zinnia seeds that I just scattered throughout. And I cannot remember which ones they were because I had the packet right here waiting, and after all the rain we got, it kind of disintegrated. I have asters that are getting bigger and bigger here and on this side as well. And I just kind of filled the center in here with the dianthus. This was dianthus I had gotten on clearance at the garden center, and I didn't even know where it was going at first, but I am trying to get more color into this flower bed, and these guys are doing the trick for now. This is a crepe myrtle, which is a flowering tree or shrub, so it'll be later, probably in July, when we start to see some flowers on it. Nevertheless, it is going to add some more kind of magenta color like this flower here just a little bit later on in the season. So coming up this way, I'm just gonna jump up into the top here. These are some coleus that I planted recently while it was raining. So I'm looking forward to having them bring color, but also to see how the experiment goes. Do I have a good amount of sun for them? Is it going to be too much sun for them? So we'll see about that. In the back here, all of the yellow evening primrose, gosh, those guys are just so aggressive in their seeding process that I don't even know how they got there, honestly. But clearly they love their life. They're just spring bloomers. They're only gonna be around for about 2 months, or I mean 2 weeks. And then honestly, I'm probably gonna pull a bunch of those out. I don't want them suffocating anything else I have in here intentionally. So we'll see what we have to do. And then this is the cordyline that comes back perennial. It's going to get much, much bigger as the year goes on. Oh my goodness, tiger lilies are also, you see these little black things on the tiger lilies? These are their seeds that they just drop. I have a whole bunch of tiger lilies and they're just dropping seeds everywhere, and probably birds or something carry the seeds around. So I'm gonna end up with more tiger lilies than I anticipated. This is a crepe myrtle volunteer. This red foliage you see right here is part of it. It's so wild how that happens. That's going to have to get out of here though, because I really don't want it affecting these plants. So these plants in here are going to be a gorgeous summer display. Multiple lilies in here. Dark red flowering daylilies, stargazer lilies, definitely my favorite kind of lily, just gorgeous, and I look forward to showing them to you in the future. And then these are all the tiger lilies that are just huge. Everything in here does really, really well, and I'm thankful for that. Down at the bottom, I know, you're like, how does she have petunias in here? Well, someone actually gave me these. I have said that I'm kind of done growing petunias in my garden because they don't do great for me by the time it's summer. When it's so hot and I have so much sun in my yard, bleh, I kind of gave up on them. But Like I said, someone gave me these. So these are Super Bells Double Vintage Coral. So actually these are considered calabrachias and not petunias, whatever. I just say they're baby petunias, who cares? We're gonna see how those guys do over here. And if I'm lucky, then they'll just give me a little more color. So here's another case of Mother Nature just kind of taking over and doing what it wants. I have something right here called a passion flower. Now the passion flower, as you can see, is growing right out of the ground here. I didn't plant it here though. What I did do was I have a pot that's stuck here in the back. It has a little trellis growing out of the back of it. Someone actually gave it to me and said, hey, would you like to try the passion flower? And I thought, yeah, okay, that's cool. The passion flower is probably one of the most unique flowers I've ever seen. It'll bloom later and I'll definitely show you. However, it gets caterpillars on it. Like, it massively attracts these caterpillars, and they eat the whole plant. So it's like you get to enjoy a couple blooms and then your foliage is destroyed. Everything looks like a mess. So I thought, I don't really want the passion flower here. I pulled it up out of that pot and definitely didn't expect anything to be in the ground. And here it is coming back in both places. It's a wait and see situation on what I'll do with that. On my beautiful blue garden bench, I have yet to set up a little vignette area on my bench like I like to do. So for now, we're still with our pink begonias that are blooming beautifully. Sometimes if you happen to notice, you have some stems of your begonias, I don't see a great example here, that has no blooms or only 2 petals or something, cut it off. Cut it off and let it come out with some fresh blooms, and this is what you end up with. So loving this here. And again, we have a pink and silver thing happening like I have in my front yard as well. This is just a silver mound artemisia. I have it underneath my crepe myrtle tree. I forgot to point it out when we were just there. I just thought this might be a little bit too much to add this to that same space. So I'm kind of thinking about where I want this to be. But it's like so soft and delicate to the touch. I love it. Having the different textures and color patterns right here next to each other, all about that. I love it. Well, let's move on to this gorgeous tall baby. When I stand next to it, wait and see how much size it is put on only in a month. This is the Texas Red Star Hibiscus, perennial, okay? So many people get to enjoy this style hibiscus as a perennial. So what's gonna happen is this guy's going to shoot up 4 feet-ish tall. It'll definitely be at least 7 feet tall for me to enjoy. The blooms are red because this is the Texas Red Star, and it's a different, unique style hibiscus bloom because it's like spiky. It like comes out like a shooting star almost. And I have 2 of them here. Each year, I think this is my 3rd season with them, they get a little bit bigger. And I saw in my neighbor's yard, she actually had babies in the ground nearby. I haven't seen mine propagate yet, but if they do, oh, holy amazing. I definitely can add hibiscus to other spots in the yard. Here we go, traveling down the line. These are more zinnia seeds that I popped in the ground. See, I had done the same thing with this seed packet, except this one I left here. I'm not gonna risk pulling it out right now to tell you what kind they are because with no blooms, you probably don't care. But I'll have to get that out so I can actually make a real plastic label for it here. Besides that, as we go along the line, I have some things in pots, some things not great yet, trying to figure it out. I can see right here that I have a dahlia coming up, which I love. Again, dahlias being on the line here of where they come back as perennial. But look at what I'm seeing. These leaves are being eaten. Now, I don't see anything actually on here right now, so I'm gonna have to figure that out. I wonder if neem oil will do the trick. Ugh, that's so frustrating. These are gonna be more stargazer lilies. Divide up your perennials. If you have especially lilies, divide them up, move them to other areas. You can enjoy them in so many spots. These begonias are the ones that I keep dividing up, keep dividing up. Have them in pots everywhere, have them in the ground now. Oh my goodness. Dianthus, one of my favorites. My garden decor right now, we're trying to figure out how it's going to go and what my placement's going to be because I have some things I started from their root in here that I'm waiting to see if they're gonna pop up, blah, 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 blah. So we're in a very much wait and see stretch of the garden right here. I have some heuchera that I have kind of protected here once this hosta leafed out this year, it's humongous and it's kind of covering a lot of it. I like heuchera a lot, but it does not do great. Again, I don't have tons of shade here, and it does want a little bit of protection, at least here in the south. I know I've seen it in other people's gardens and it's fabulous. It's just not the same here. And then really the only other thing I kind of want to show you here is I do have a set of cone flowers that are growing. Oh, actually my succulent pot, just some hens and chicks that stayed out for the winter. Looking green, looking good. Let's move on. What are you? This hydrangea bush has gotten so large, it's like starting to cover my window, which in one way is nice because when you're sitting on the couch looking out into the backyard, you can see all these gorgeous blooms. And by the way, I do love having blue hydrangeas. However, it also sort of blocks the view to the pool. So it's a catch-22 having it here. And look at these coral pink peach begonias. When I walk out the back door in the morning and I have my cup of coffee, these colors are just awesome to see. Here we are on the other side of the yard. So this is the rock garden space, and I have so many more glorious beauties in here. I don't want to call this like a wait and see garden like over on that side. Obviously my wisteria, like major blooms have come and gone, but you can see that there are new buds all over the place, and they're sort of like in different shapes and forms because things are starting to happen again, which is really, really cool. So you're not just left with the foliage, you are left with some like purple dotting throughout, which is neat. So as we start to look at the rock garden, one thing you are going to take notice to is the fact that things have grown so much. In a lot of cases, we can barely even see the rocks now because things are taking off. This is the cascading rock sedum, and I absolutely adore it, but you know how I love my rocks too, so I don't know if I'm going to clip some of that back or not. This is Sunny Border Blue Speedwell. This is cool because it's totally different, unique bloom style compared to some of the other things we have going on. Hello, these are the blanket flowers, which, you know, like I say, pop up everywhere and get tremendous. I'm jumping in. This right here is an Asiatic lily. It's going to bloom in a very light pink color. I have so many buds on this that it's absolutely outstanding. This is one of the tallest lilies, or probably the tallest lily that I actually have. Now, as I was saying on the other side, definitely divide up your lilies if you have them in your yard, because this has grown a lot and I have new pieces that I've been able to move around. It's awesome. Here's yet another dahlia. So I think this is probably the third one that we're on just in the backyard right now. All things that are coming back. I only have so far one bud on here, but it's going to be amazing. Gorgeous pink flowers on it. Some of the things you've seen over and over again, just all spring so far, like the red begonias in the pot because they overwintered, and they're stunners. They look fabulous. My ladyhead planter, all the things. You've seen all these things before, and she's just continuing to look absolutely amazing. My yellow hibiscus, purchased brand new this year, have it in a pot right here. It is attached to my drip irrigation. So far, everything that has been here before in the back is stunning. The yellow shrub that cannot be missed in the background here, that is the sunshine ligustrum. People ask me about it all the time. I wanted to point it out because it becomes like this main focal point, which is why I put it in the center of the garden. Now, I don't really want it to get much taller because I don't want it to go taller than the privacy screens, so I'm gonna have to keep that baby clipped back, but the color is divine. Over here, I have lots of great things happening. I had a whole bunch of daisies here previously. I thought I had dug them all out, and the reason is, look how tall they get compared to my purple balloon flowers. The balloon flowers is this plant all down here. Tons and tons of buds, only the one flower. Cool, no problem. Well, I didn't want the daisies to take away from them, but it seems that some kind of survived here anyway. So whatever, it's cool. We'll live with it for now. I can't even tell you what the heck happened over here. I have like purple heart for days. It was an unintentional thing. I probably had like a little piece draping out of a pot or something that broke off, and boom, it just shot out of, like, I feel like out of a corner or a back wall. So this has gotten amazing. Here's just more of like that cascading sedum. Now this one going up the rock, I do like because this rock is huge. So a little bit of it can be covered. I just don't want my small ones to be covered. Clearly, we can see all the orange daylilies because they bloom just earlier than the other ones. I have a different variety that's next to them. It's gonna bloom in dark red. It's shorter in stature, and that's a little bit closer to summer. I think maybe there's gonna be a little bit of crossover bloom between these guys that are right here, but we are going to see about that. Down below here, this is my ham and eggs lantana. I love this color combination. It is my favorite lantana combination. And then I have some green twister echinacea that is one of my most favorite, and I just hope that it gets nice and big and strong with lots of blooms so I can show them to you. It's unique and I love it. As a gardener, I am sure that you have a spot in your yard that's kind of embarrassing and kind of messy. This is mine. This area, as we kind of head right to the greenhouse, especially this time of year when the greenhouse is not being used, I end up with pots everywhere and things kind of strewn about until they find their forever homes. Well, first of all, I have some things planted in the ground over here that is sort of like the island of misfit toys in a way. They're divisions of things that were in my yard that just didn't have another home. Like the daisies I was just talking about, they were kind of too tall for their spot. So I moved them down here. Thought I moved all of them. I have some black-eyed Susans here. They're just so plentiful that I didn't want to have a million same thing in the rock garden. This is some coreopsis, and I can't remember what it's called, like thin needled or something like that. That actually came to me from my mom. So you see, I have lots of like kind of things that found a home that wasn't necessarily meant to be permanent. And then some of the other items that I have two very cool kinds of sweet potato vines. This one that's in a pot that overwintered, this one that's draping out of a pot with no like plant highlighting it or whatever. This is the polka dot plant that I ended up with everywhere. You saw some of it in my lady head planter. I literally bought it as an annual last year for $1. It grew so much and then it self-seeded, so I ended up with polka dot plant everywhere. And then this is asparagus fern. Oh my goodness, these things are, you're gonna eventually see me put them into an arrangement of some sort, but for now, they're just kind of living over here. Speaking of self-seeding things that you dreamed were only annuals, these right here are the Dragon's Breath celosia. Gorgeous, gorgeous summer blooming, very unique style plant. Also a self-seeder though, so I had some of it over here, and now you can see it's all coming up through my rocks, and you can tell this one very easily because of like its magenta color. So I'm gonna have lots of that to put into arrangements as well. We're gonna end right here. It is just beside my pool, and I kind of just want to save the poolside gardens as well as the secret garden for its own special garden tour because there's so much contained inside of there. I just felt like it should be separate from where we are. So you can see the banana trees behind me are gaining height. I'm loving that. My gorgeous planters that I potted up in March are stunning, vibrant, perfect, like tropical tones. Everything over here is fabulous, so I'm so thankful for it. I hope you enjoyed my backyard garden tour, and I hope that you found some goodies in there that you're like, I need that in my life. Sharing all of these little garden delights is like what this is all about, the awesomeness and that inspiration. Thanks again, and until next time, you guys, happy planting.